beautiful day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood. A neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So, since we're together, we might as well say, let's make the most of this beautiful day. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you be? Please won't you be? Please won't you be my neighbor? Hello, friends. Boy, it's just been too long since we had a visit. I'm so glad that you could make it today. I've been awfully glum lately, and I've been thinking, what could I possibly do to pass these blues? And I thought, perhaps a trip to the land of make-believe was in order. Won't you come with me? Let's use our imaginations. Okay, neighbors, so I'm going to show you how to take some steps in doing your collage. Before we left, we were somewhere around right here. A lot of you had traced using carbon paper and done a little bit of Photoshop work on stuff. I'm going to show you how to go from kind of this stage more into this stage, and then eventually to completion. Notice the combination of collage and paint in these. The process I used for all of these is really similar. Okay, I started with a Squozen palette, and then I layered paper on top of it with value matching, and in some cases with texture. So I'm going to do some painting on here today. Up on my screen, where you can't see, I have my original reference photos handy, and I have a palette here. I could do this with just black and white, but I want it to have a little bit of a blue tone because that's what the lighting did in my references. So I'm just going to do this for you. I've got a couple of different brushes ready, I've got a palette ready, I've got paper towels ready. My workstation's up and set. So first thing I'm going to do is actually just kind of mix up the darks that I'm going for. And it actually has more of a purple tone even than what I have here, but I think it's okay. I'm going to work quickly. I'm going to try to work real quickly. First step is I'm just going to kind of block in the areas that I know I want to be dark. I'll worry about detail and stuff later. These are all just an approximation for right now. And I can always change my mind on any of this. Now you can use gel medium to kind of get a transparency, but since you probably don't have any of that at home, you can just water down your acrylics and get the same sort of effect to get a glaze. don't know exactly how dark I want to make that yet. Do I want texture in there? I could throw some texture in it, depending on the type of brush I use. Now going in with paint first is going to be substantially faster than trying to do this all with paper from the get-go. Boy, I like that texture. Okay, there's background. Now I'm going to go predominantly black and white first, and then I'm going to replace stuff with the same value but a different color later. Now I could just do this all with paper from the get-go, but I'm trying to save a substantial amount of time by doing some of this heavy lifting with the paint, and then I'll just accent with my paper later. So we're going to take a break from that for just a second. Some areas I still want to fill in. I don't really love the value in that part. Okay. From there, we're getting closer to looking something kind of like that. Okay. All of the green and the dark is paint on this, but I have added a little bit of highlight with paper. Okay. I believe I just used a Post-it note. Yeah. And by choosing just to hit my highlights, I have accented the things that I really want to draw attention to. Okay. I still want to fill in that space right there. Long before I ever glue anything down, I kind of just place things on the page. I think this will look good here. I'm not sure. I'm going to test it out. I'll squint at it. I'll back away. I'll get closer. I'll trim it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm sold on it yet. Don't like that one. Somehow I got a bunch of water on here. Okay. Yeah, I don't love any of that. I squint at my piece quite frequently. I do kind of like it on the shoulder there. I'm referencing my reference photo constantly. Yeah, I kind of like that. I like how that bounces my eye back and forth. Now, can you go in and just paper the whole thing? Yes. You certainly can do that. Depending on the supplies at home, it might be easier to just do an entire collage piece. Nope. This is really a lot of back and forth on this part. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Is it emphasized too much? It's like a constant game. It's not bad. That's not too bad. If I become confident in a piece and I know I want it to stay there, typically how I handle that is either with Mod Podge or glue. I just leave a little bit on my fingertip, and then I'll wipe down the spot that I want it to go on, and just put it on top like that. Now you don't want the corners to peel up or anything. I just lay it flat like that, and sometimes I try to get the glue or the Mod Podge coat over the top of it also. So I'll do a second coat after it dries. Okay. Good. And really, it's just a lot of decision making from then forward. Look at it. Dying. So take a look there, try to determine what's paint and what is paper. I don't try to hide the angular strokes of paper cut. I try to just feed into it. Okay. You don't need every single detail there. I've completely omitted the eyes and a lot of the hair. Okay. Just lightly put it in. And then I, in some cases, have gone back in and darkened things up and accented them. darks right here and on the lips, nostrils. I did that after the fact. So I started with the Squozen palette, meaning mostly just grays, and then went back in. And on this lovely, this one is primarily paper actually. I drew in first where everything was going, and then I did do a gray layer underneath. But after that, I went in mostly with paper. And I estimated, I changed the color of the paper a little bit later. I got kind of an orange, I got kind of a yellow. She had a really bright yellow light sitting on her. But then later, I could change the color by just putting a little bit of thin paint on top of it. Sometimes I look for texture intentionally because I want it to show up rather than mask the fact that this is paper. I like having the text on there in some cases. Remember to think from light to dark and in terms of textures while you're working. Okay. So to recap, I kind of hit the grays on this today. Then from there, kind of toyed around with cutting paper, and I particularly just hit the highlights on this one. Okay. I left some of the pencil marks underneath. I like it to show. Okay. I like showing my work like a mathematician. Anyways, you have a surrealist collage piece that you should be doing, but we're also doing that collage piece that you started in class. So have fun with it. I'm going to set up a time here pretty soon to do kind of like a live call-in, and you can ask me questions and show me your progress, etc., etc. So keep an eye out for that on Canvas in the announcements. Well, neighbors, sure miss seeing you guys, like a lot. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I hope so sincerely that before the end of the school year we'll get to meet again and do a little bit of artwork together, okay? And celebrate, okay? Take care, stay busy.